based on the true events of 1973 in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It was a humid October evening in 1973 when Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker decided to go fishing along the Pascagoula River. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in bruised purples and fading golds. The two men, co-workers at a nearby shipyard, were seeking a bit of peace and distraction after a long week. As they sat quietly near the riverbank, something unexpected shattered the stillness. A high-pitched worry noise sliced through the air. Behind them, a strange oval-shaped craft, glowing blue, descended from the sky and hovered a few feet above the ground. Calvin's eyes widened in disbelief. Charles froze, his body rigid with shock. Before either could run, a hatch opened on the craft, and three beings floated out, metallic, robotic, and utterly alien. They were about 5 feet tall, with bullet-shaped heads, no visible eyes, and crab-like pincers where hands should have been. The air around them buzzed with static. The beings moved with eerie precision, gliding over the grass without a sound. Calvin later remembered feeling suddenly paralyzed, as if an invisible force had gripped his muscles. Both men were lifted off the ground and floated into the ship. Inside, everything was bright and clinical. Calvin recalled a large eye-like device scanning his body, while Charles described a sensation of being examined but never touched. The beings never spoke, but seemed to communicate with each other in pulses of light and energy. Then, just as suddenly as they were taken, the two men found themselves back on the riverbank. The craft lifted off and vanished into the night sky without a sound. Time had passed, but how much, they couldn't tell. Shaken, the two drove straight to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. They told their story to skeptical deputies, who decided to leave the men alone in a room with a hidden recorder, hoping they'd trip themselves up in a lie. But the recording revealed something different. Two terrified men whispering about what had happened, trying to make sense of the unbelievable. "I know nobody's going to believe us," Calvin said, voice trembling. But it happened, and Calvin, who had been reluctant to speak for years, eventually broke his silence to say, "There's more out there than we can understand. I just hope they meant no harm."